Hello, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Mark Wiles, and I'm with the University of North Carolina System Office, where I serve as Director of CFNC Pathways. Our team focuses on the Plan and Apply tools on CFNC.org, and here you'll see an illustration of all that are part of this collaboration called CFNC, to improve college access for our North Carolina students. As we get started today, my hope is that this video will prepare you for your own deeper exploration of some of these resources and also highlight some tools that might be new to you, even though you've perhaps used the CFNC Career Tools for a while. So on the agenda today, we're going to begin with an overview of the career tools that are available through CFNC for various audiences, and I'll share at the outset that all of these resources are available across the state for free. Number two, the role of the Professional Center. Now, we don't have time today to get deep into that tool, but I'll highlight it, and hopefully you can watch the video on the CFNC Professional Center to dig deeper. The third item on the agenda is career tools specifically for middle school. And then last, we have career tools for middle school through adult. I think that'll make more sense as we step forward today. So let's get started with an overview of the career tools for the various audiences. Now for elementary, we'll not be going there today, but there is Pause in Jobland, and there is a separate video for that resource. Pause is the dog that you see there in the illustration that takes students to this place named Jobland. And there's a quiz, and you can search, and over 100 career profiles tailored just for elementary students. For middle school, you'll see in the middle image on this slide, Bridges Choices Explorer. And this, as you can tell by the interface, is specifically targeted to the middle school audience. And then on the far right, you'll see what the interface looks like for high school students, college students, and adults. So that would be in the main Plan for a Career section. One of the questions we often receive from educators is about which career assessments are available. And that differs depending upon the audience that you serve. So we created this table so that you can, at a glance, see what is available for you as you work with students. So notice Pause in Jobland, noted for elementary students. For middle school, you'll see 1 through 12 noted. Now items 10 through 12 are available to high school students or college or adult users, but they're really not age appropriate as you think about the interface as well as the tools themselves. So that's why they are specifically noted here as for the middle school audience. Now the other variances that you see could be licensing, or it could be reliability, validity for those different audiences. I added this graphic specifically for middle school just to highlight how you would access those assessments. We'll be looking at this in more detail later, but you'll see assessments 1 through 9 available through the Plan for Career section on the main CFNC.org site, and assessments 10 through 12 available through the Choices Explorer. Most of these assessment results are accessible on the back end by you as an educator through the CFNC Professional Center. However, I put a note there in the lower right that reporting for these 3 middle school assessments, 10 through 12, is not currently available in the Professional Center. So let's say a word about the role of the Professional Center. I hope many of you have accounts already. If you don't, I encourage you to drop us an email and get that process started. It won't take long, and I think you'll be pleased with the tools that you'll have access to. On this slide, you'll see on the left hand the main site for students, CFNC.org. That's the site that most of us spend our time on, but there is a totally separate site that is the Professional Center, and that is at procenter.cfnc.org. For the main site, CFNC.org, students can create their account beginning in middle school. It is free, and that can follow the student through high school, college, and into adulthood. The account belongs to the student. It is portable. So the nice thing about that is that their access to these resources does not depend upon school or district purchases. They have portability across the state as they might change schools. For the CFNC Professional Center, these accounts can be requested by any North Carolina educator, or perhaps you work in a youth serving organization or in a workforce center. An example would be the College Advising Corps. The Professional Center account is accessible only if you are employed by the school or the youth serving organization, and once that employment ceases, then that account ends. If you don't have an account, here's the email address, cfnc@northcarolina.edu, and please put PAC request in the subject line. That stands for Professional Access Account Key. And here are the pieces of information that we'll need from you. Once we receive that, then we'll pass along some information that will allow you to go to the Professional Center that you see here on the right and begin. Now let's move to number 3 as we think about career tools specifically for middle school. There are 2 options for middle school career assessments and career information. We'll go to the site live in just a moment, but I wanted to show you this graphic. So here, if your students are navigating through the middle school student role, here they can choose Plan for a Career on the main CFNC.org site, or they could choose the CFNC Bridges Choices Explorer. We saw that graphic just a moment ago. There is a one-time portfolio creation step. It's the first time that a middle school student starts to use the CFNC Bridges Choices Explorer. Here's what the student sees, and it takes just a moment, and it is immediate, so you don't have to wait for a day or week for a connection to occur. That occurs, then the students can go ahead and use the tool. So let's see how a middle school student could access the Choices Explorer tools. First, they'll need to click on Student, and then Middle School Student, and Explore Careers. This is the choice that I mentioned a moment ago. So here, if they click on this left option, it's going to take them to the Plan for Career section. They can navigate to that same resource by using the top navigation. But if I click here, then I go to the Choices Explorer interface. So we don't have time today to click on all of the different options, but I wanted to give you this high-level overview. You'll notice across the top the main tabs: Work, Learn, Life, and Your Portfolio. On the home page, the landing page for Choices Explorer, some of the most popular items from these tabs are pulled to the front. So Work, these are resources that are available if you click on the Work tab. Learn, available also in the Learn tab. Some things that are most easily accessible here are sections such as this. This week's highlights, so you can see a seismologist. This changes each week, and they can look at the career profile. Now, these career profiles are unique to Choices Explorer. Some of the text is pulled from ONET, but also there is writing that is specifically targeted to the middle school student and some careers that you would not find in ONET. So in the middle school tool, for Choices Explorer, there are about 900 career profiles. So if I click through, I can see the various sections. One thing that I really like are these real-life activities. If you click on one of them, you can see how someone in this profession might apply what they're learning in school. So very helpful as you are perhaps seeking to convey to your students the connection between their academics and where they might want to be in a career. So I'll go back to the Home tab. Just a moment ago, we started with this week's highlights, and you can see others that are there as well. Blogs, so this is Faith, who is a young person who has entered her profession, and she is writing about those early years and what she's learning and what she's enjoying, challenges that she's facing. There are some college students writing in there as well. I'll go back to the top, and let's move through the different tabs for just a moment. I'm going to begin with the Work tab. Click on this career cluster, and notice within the cluster, then I see the career profiles. We looked at one just a moment ago, the seismologist, so you can see the common template that these are using. I'll go back. We see here the Career Finder. Let's click on that. And this is one assessment that is available in Choices Explorer. So I can start now, and you can see the questions and very quickly see that it's RIASEC based, so Holland codes. You can take those multiple times. Cluster Finder. So here I can answer questions about what I enjoy, and then it suggests clusters rather than specific careers. Another one of my favorite tools is searching for careers by school subject. So I'm sure many of us have had the occasion where a student might say, well, I have no idea, what I would want to do. You could begin with the question, what subjects do you enjoy in school? So they might say, well, I enjoy English. So here's some career ideas for those who have an affinity for English. I'm going to go over now to the Learn tab. And here, instead of looking at careers by the cluster, we're looking at programs by the cluster. So notice here how it has changed. I'll go back. Another one of the assessments, the third in Choices Explorer, is the Major Finder. So here I can answer questions, and it suggests, instead of a career or a cluster, as we looked at just a moment ago, it is suggesting a major that I might want to consider. All right, now let's move over to the Life section. So here it provides volunteering and recreation suggestions for students to explore. Let's say, for instance, that I have an affinity for this career cluster. What recreation opportunities might I want to consider? And then in your portfolio, it's where they have the opportunity to enter things about themselves. So I can here take a look in a dashboard manner at past assessments that I have taken within Choices Explorer, things that I've saved, plans that I've created. And there are also guideways. So let's say a student did not know where to begin, or maybe you wanted to set your students on a path where they are guided through some activities. You could do it this way, so that they could choose the Get Started Guideway, and then it would begin walking them through. So I'm on step 1 of 9 now. Okay, so that is the Your Portfolio tab, just a few of the highlights there. Again, I would encourage you, as you have opportunity, to dig a little bit deeper, and we would appreciate hearing your feedback. Okay, so that was a look through the career tools that are specifically for middle school students. Now let's move to item 4 on our agenda today, career tools for middle school, high school, college, all the way up through adult. Here I am on the main CFNC.org site. I'm going to choose Plan and for Career. Let's begin with the top option, Learn About Yourself. And this is where you'll find the assessments that are available based upon the student's account. And when I say the student's account, here we're in as a fictitious student named Marco. And Marco is registered with CFNC.org as a high school student. So that means Marco will have access to 9 assessments. And if we scroll down and count, we'll see all of those. One of the things that I like about the view here is not only can we see all of the assessments that are available, but we can see how long each takes. If I click on the interest profiler, you'll see what that looks like. I can get started. Also, I can see other times that I've taken this assessment and the results. If I click Get Started, then I'm walked through these questions. Now this is coming from ONET. So if you like the ONET interest profiler, this is the same, except the advantage here is that the results are available to you as an educator through the Professional Center. So they're saved for the student to take multiple times, as well as for you to see that they've taken it and also to see their results. We'll click on another one that I especially like. This is Work Values Sorter. The students are asked to do a card sort, a virtual card sort here. And as you might guess, most of us, as we read these cards about what are most important to us, we fill up these columns, most important, more important first, and inevitably towards the end we have to say, okay, I'll sacrifice this so that I can move something else up to these higher columns. So some of these are coming from ONET. The career key comes from careerkey.org. Dr. Larry Jones, Professor Emeritus at NC State, developed this instrument, and I would invite you to go by careerkey.org and you can learn more about that instrument in depth. Do What You Are and the Learning Style Inventory come from a different source, and Do What You Are is a Myers-Briggs inventory. So that is what you'll find in the Learn About Yourself section. Let's move down to the next option in Plan for a Career, Explore Careers. There are different ways to browse. So you can search by career cluster, and I can begin exploring different careers within. I could search for a career. And here I find that. Notice here in the career profiles, there is a common template. You'll see what they do. This is again coming from ONET, much of the information. In this section, is this for you? The student has the opportunity to see how their assessment results on CFNC.org compare to people in this profession. So in this case, I can see that accountants tend to be conventional and enterprising. For me, I tend to be investigative and social. So there's a good point of conversation. Now down here in my work values, I see achievement, independence, and recognition as the top three. For people in this profession, I see achievement here as my number one also, but then relationships and support coming above independence and recognition. So some great opportunities for conversation there. Another thing that I'll point out is this section here to the left. I can add this to my portfolio as a saved career, and I can come back to this later and look at all of my saved careers. You as a professional could go into the Professional Center and see the saved careers for this student or for, let's say, all of your ninth graders. I can compare side by side. We might be accustomed to doing that with, let's say, comparing a car, one car to another. So here they're comparing one career to another, and I can start a career plan. For this student, they have already created Plan A, which is to be a dental hygienist, and they would like to enter this program, and they're seriously considering Guilford Technical Community College for that. So I can change it, make this my Plan B, I can delete this, I can start a new career plan. And once again, in the Professional Center, you have the opportunity to take a look at the saved career plans for your students. I'm going to jump down to Money and Outlook. Notice that there is North Carolina specific information, including down to the MSAs. You can see the different areas across the state. Connections is another item that I wanted to highlight because it gives students access to related links. I can look at interviews from people in the profession. Here's one. And just as we noted in the middle school activities, I have real-life math, communication, and decision-making activities that help make a connection between their current academics and where they would like to be down the road. So that's what it looks like in the career profile area, and I got there by choosing Explore Careers. Let's move to the third section here in Plan for a Career, Reality Check, a great tool from the North Carolina Department of Commerce that we link to here. I'm going to click Get Started. I'm going to choose, let's just do Graham County. The student has the opportunity to build a personal budget. So let's say that I'll assume that once I'm on my own, that I'm single and I don't have any children. And here I am thinking about owning an average home. Well, that looks a little expensive. Maybe I should rent an average home. Okay, so I'll rent. So next, yes, I will definitely need water and a cell phone and yes, internet. Okay. And I'll choose, yes, an economy car. And I won't go through the other items for the sake of time, but you can see how it walks the student through these different areas. And at the end, I'll click on that. It shows their budget. It breaks it down here for them by the numbers as well as graphically. And then I can find occupations in that county, in Graham County, that would help me accomplish this goal of having this monthly budget. So there I go out to the North Carolina Star Jobs link. We'll go there in just a moment. Okay, so let's go back to plan for a career. That was reality check. Let's go to know before you go. Here are a couple of different tables that illustrate ways to consider outlook for occupations. The first lists the top 30 North Carolina occupations with strong career prospects. And that is defined as being strong in these areas. So wages, growth rate, and the number of openings. And here we are using data from the North Carolina Star Jobs tool. So we're extracting that data from Star Jobs and putting it into an at-a-glance format here. Notice that the titles are hyperlinked to profiles on CFNC.org. If there is a career listed here that we don't have a profile for on CFNC.org, it goes over to ONET. Another way to look at Outlook is to consider the top 30 North Carolina occupations by the number of openings. So you'll notice a very different set of careers highlighted, but all of them, again, hyperlinked so they can learn more. At the top, you'll find a couple of links. This one, a great tool, the North Carolina Star Jobs, and you can search in various ways. I won't go through them all, but one of the ways that many people use the tool is to sort by the 5-star jobs. So those, again, as we mentioned here, with strong career prospects, wages, growth rate, and number of openings. So that combination there is earning these occupations the top stars. At the top, you'll also see a link to NC Tower. This is really helpful if you have parents or students that are asking you about some of the most popular programs in our public institutions. So the 4-year university system or our 2-year community colleges. If they're wondering about job outcomes, salary outcomes, they can take a look by, for instance, top paying bachelor's degree programs. Here's a chart for top paying associate's degree programs. And popular degrees at our universities and at our community colleges. So I would encourage you to take a look at this, and you can learn much more about the data here on the NC Tower site. Let's go back to Plan for a Career, and we'll move down to the next link, which is Career Focus. I'm not going to click into any of these links, but I just wanted to highlight that we have pulled out resources for these 2 areas which are in high demand here in North Carolina. So the nursing careers and teaching careers. Get a Job has tools for building a resume, a cover letter, job interview practice, thank you letter builder. I'm going to click on this one. It's one of my favorite. I think we can all relate as we think about interviews we've been part of in the past. And so I'm going to click on commonly asked questions, and I think we've all had this, right? Tell me about yourself. So it gives the students an opportunity to go through these questions and to think about what they might say, and to save that and use it as an opportunity to practice. I'll go back to Plan for a Career, and that brings us through the resources here. I'm not going to go to Pause in Jobland today because that is the tool that is targeted to elementary students. Before we end today, I wanted to show you very briefly a glimpse into the Professional Center because of the robust tools that you have here if you're working with students in career planning. So here I have a student portfolio view for a fictitious student named Audra Allen. I'm going to click into her career planning area and notice all that I can see. Career plans, a moment ago we saw a student, and these two are not connected, this student and this professional, but I could see Marco's plan if I was connected to him in the Professional Center, and I could see that he was planning to be a dental hygienist and attend Guilford Technical Community College. I'll go back. I can, for instance, here take a look at the resume and then add a comment. You'll see that throughout the Professional Center, that many opportunities to add the comments, and then the student, when they go back to their portfolio on CFNC, will be able to see the comments you've added. This is where you can look at the assessments and see the individual results. Work values, the student has taken it. You can see it's been a few years ago. If they've written a reflection, I could read that, and I can add comments. Okay, one other thing that I'd like to show you so that you'll have the perspective that the student has. I'm going to go back to the main CFNC.org site, go to the home page, and under My CFNC, you'll notice a tab called Career Planning. This is the dashboard for career planning. So a student would not have to go through the Plan for Career section here to take a look at these pieces of information. So I could go to my career plans here, and these other sections that we've noted earlier. So I think this is a really convenient way for the students to get a view of their plans. They can save documents, career planning documents here. You can access those through the Professional Center. I'm going to go back to the My CFNC area, here the portfolio. It's another way to go to the career planning portfolio that we just looked at. But here I can see other things. For instance, here students can even give their parent or guardian access to their portfolio. So a great way to involve parents in the process. Here's the link so that a student can invite them. Well, thank you for watching today. We appreciate your taking time to learn more about the CFNC career tools. We appreciate your collaboration. And as always, we look forward to hearing your questions and suggestions. Here is a phone number where you could reach us to learn more, and also an email. Thank you. Have a great day.